Retirement, a check written to the future. It was nearly 3 in the morning when my owner opened his laptop, curious about something. For the first time in years, he searched online, "What is the retirement age?" When he saw the answer, he smiled. Then the smile froze. Then he opened the calculator. Age 65, 40 years of work, and one question. After all these years, what will I actually have left? He couldn't find the answer. Restless, he laid his head on the pillow and fell asleep. But I had already found it. Because as you can see, I'm a wallet. I don't live in his pocket anymore, most of the time. I live in a drawer. Cards took my place. But I still see everything. Every transaction, every postponed decision, every sentence that started with, "I'll deal with it later." And tonight, I noticed something. In 30 years, he never once asked me this question. Every penny he earned came through me. Every penny that left, I held it. I saw it. I remembered it. But no one ever consulted me about the future. Today, I'm going to tell you how the future gets written, or rather, how it doesn't. Because retirement isn't really an age, it's a check you sign at 30, at 40, sometimes even at 25. But when you sign that check, no one shows you the number and says, "Look, this is your life at 70. No one tells you what that check is really going to cost you. I'm here to tell you what's been hidden underneath all of that. I've witnessed every delay that passed through my owner's hands, every "not now." And now I'm going to open them up one by one. You know, people always seem to ask me the same question, is my money enough or not? As if that were the only question that mattered. But the real question I see is different. Does today's version of you actually know tomorrow's version of you? Because retirement isn't a number on the calendar, it's a meeting 30 years from now between the person who looks back in the mirror and the person sitting at this table today. And what you'll be holding in your hands at that meeting, that's decided by what you do today, what you put your effort into today, what you sacrifice today, and what you spend your time on today. Most of the time, though, you just don't want to admit that. Part 1. The lie of "I still have plenty of time." I remember that day like it was yesterday. My owner was 22. He'd just tucked his first paycheck inside me with so much pride, I could still smell it on him. HR handed him a form. "If you'd like, you can also enroll in the pension plan." My owner smiled, a little too casually. "A pension? I'm just starting my life here. I've got plenty of time to think about that stuff." Starting his life. What a lovely phrase. As if retirement weren't part of life at all. As if the 70-year-old version of him wouldn't even be the same person. Like some entirely different life lived by someone else. But it isn't someone else. It's the same person, just 35 years older, more tired, more worn down. Think about it this way. If you don't make that decision at 22, you'll be forced to make it at 42, except by then you'll have 20 fewer years on your side. And time in this story is the most expensive thing there is. Because time is the only thing that multiplies money. Not earns it, multiplies it. This is where that quiet bit of magic called compound interest comes in. We'll come back to it in the next chapter. But first, let me tell you this. My owner didn't sign that form. Later, he said, "I've still got time." 8 years passed. Those 8 years never came back. Here's the strange part. My owner didn't live a bad life during those 8 years. There were vacations, a new phone, dinners out with friends. None of it was wrong. I'm not judging any of it. I'm a wallet, not a preacher. But behind every one of those moments was another invoice, one nobody could see. Not the bill for the money spent, but the bill for the time not spent wisely. And that bill always gets paid, eventually. The only choice you get is who pays it, the you of today with a small sacrifice, or the you of 70 with a much bigger one. So one way or another, you're the one paying that bill, either with the strong, capable body you have right now, or with the tired, worn-out, aging one you'll have decades from now. Because time doesn't rewind. Money always finds a way back, earned again, saved again. But a year that's already gone, that one never comes back. Chapter 2. The Quiet Power of Compound Interest. Let me tell you a story. There's a little math in it, but don't worry, it's just a story. Picture two siblings. One is 25 and starts setting aside $300 a month for retirement. The other starts at 35, but to make up for the missing 10 years, sets aside $600 a month, exactly twice as much. By the time they turn 65, who has saved more? The answer goes against your instincts. The sibling who started young usually ends up ahead, even having put in less money overall, because their money has been growing, compounding, earning interest on its own interest for 30 years. The other sibling's money only had 20 years to grow. So the sibling who gave their money more time to grow ended up, years later, with far more than the one who didn't, even though they contributed less. There's a quote attributed to Albert Einstein. Its origin is disputed, but its truth holds. Compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. As a wallet, I agree, because I've seen the people who never witness it. I've seen money sit in my pocket, going nowhere, just waiting. And that money never grew, because growing takes time, and I was never able to give it that time. That's why "I'll start once I have money" is one of the most expensive lies ever spoken. Because that sentence doesn't steal your money, it steals your time. And time is something no one, no bank can ever pay back. Let me offer an analogy. Compound interest is like a snowball. The first snowball you roll down the hill is small, looks insignificant. But if the slope is long, that snowball keeps rolling and growing until one day you look up and that tiny snowball you rolled from the top of the mountain has become an avalanche. Roll it down a short slope and it stays a small ball. Roll it down a long slope and it becomes a massive mound of snow. The length of the slope is your time, and the only thing that shortens that slope is delay. The more you put it off, the smaller a snowball you're choosing to settle for. When my owner kept putting that day off, he shortened his own slope. The snowball can still roll, it just won't ever get as big as it could have. That's not a punishment, that's just physics. Chapter 3. What a 401k actually means. Let's talk about this now. What is a 401k, really? Let me simplify it. Every month, you set aside a portion of your paycheck. That money turns into investment funds. And here's the part most people miss. Your employer adds money out of their own pocket on top of what you put in. So what you set aside doesn't stay just what you set aside. Think about it. No risky investment, no cryptocurrency, no guaranteed opportunity can promise you an instant 50% return. But your employer gives you exactly that, just for participating in the system. When you really think about it, that's an enormous opportunity. So why do so many people opt out of this system, or never join it at all? Because the word retirement sounds like someone else's problem. There's a strange belief floating around that it's silly or unnecessary for a young person to worry about retirement. To a 25-year-old, retirement is some stranger's problem 40 years from now. But that stranger is you, just an older version of you. I need to give a warning here because I'm not here just to give you hope, I'm here to help you see the truth. A 401k is obviously not a miracle. There are management fees, returns depend on the market, and if you withdraw early, penalties and taxes can eat up a significant chunk of it. This is a system you need to use with understanding, not blindly. But not understanding it is no better an excuse than never starting at all. Let me add this too. Contributing to a 401k doesn't mean impoverishing your life right now. The amounts we're usually talking about are small, comparable to a dinner out, a subscription, a weekly coffee habit. This isn't about setting aside some enormous sum, it's about keeping up that small habit, even if it's modest, over a long stretch of time. And remember, there's flexibility in this system too. Under certain conditions, through accounts like a Roth IRA, you can even access this money early with tax advantages. It's not perfect, it's not always flexible, but it's still far better to be than never starting at all. As a wallet, let me say this. Every coin that's passed through me carries its own little history. Some were spent and vanished without a trace, but the coins that went into a 401k were different. They were like a letter written to the future with just one line on it. Wait for me, I'm growing. Chapter 4. Inflation's Invisible Theft. Let me tell you something people rarely talk about. Saving money isn't enough. Because the money you save, if it just sits there motionless, quietly erodes, and you won't even notice it happening. We call this inflation, but I have another name for it, the invisible thief. It doesn't break into your safe, it doesn't force your lock, it doesn't strong-arm your money away from you. It just reaches into time itself, unnoticed, and pulls the purchasing power right out of your money. And as that purchasing power fades, the same paycheck you bring home every month quietly buys less and less. Think about it. The $50 sitting in my pocket 10 years ago and the $50 you're holding today don't buy the same things. Same paper, same number, far less power. This is exactly why saving money alone isn't enough when it comes to retirement. That money also needs to be able to stand its ground against inflation's quiet little games. Money tucked under a mattress slowly erodes, falling prey to silent inflation, and most of the time you realize it far too late. This is a truth that scares people, but what you should fear isn't failing to save, it's not knowing that saving alone won't be enough. I remember another wallet, a friend of mine. His owner kept his money under the mattress for years. "I don't trust banks," he used to say. He was careful, disciplined, but 15 years later that money was still the same paper, it just couldn't buy nearly as much anymore. He had actually pulled off something difficult. He never spent it, but the sacrifice he made turned out to mean almost nothing. That wallet once said something to me I've never forgotten. I was never lost, I was never stolen, and yet the money inside me still melted away. That's the cruelest part of inflation. Nothing disappears, but everything shrinks. The number printed on that piece of paper never changes, but your money has already lost its value, quietly without you ever noticing. So when we talk about saving for retirement, asking, "How much am I putting away?" isn't enough. The real question is, can this money actually keep pace with time? Chapter 5. The question at the top of the pyramid. The math of Social Security. You might be thinking, well, Social Security will take care of me. There's a truth here that doesn't get questioned enough. Let's talk about it for a moment. The Social Security system in America runs on pyramid logic. The FICA tax taken from today's workers goes straight to today's retirees. The whole system depends on there being more workers than retirees. But birth rates are falling. People are living longer. That's why there's talk about the trust fund running out at a certain point. It's not the apocalypse, it's just simple math. The system probably won't disappear entirely, but paying out the full promised amounts may become difficult. That's exactly why retirement shouldn't stand on one leg. Social Security is one leg. A 401k and an IRA are the second leg. Personal investments are the third leg. A one-legged table is bound to fall over sooner or later, one way or another. I'm not telling you this to scare you or stress you out. Millions of people's lives depend on this system. No government can afford to ignore it. But relying on it alone is like building a bridge with a single beam. Setting out with your weight resting on just one support genuinely raises the risk. That's why having only one pillar to lean on for your retirement, for your future, is a fairly risky position to be in. Chapter 6: The Brain's Procrastination Trick. I want to ask you a question. Why do people choose today's small pleasure over tomorrow's big security? The answer is hidden somewhere in the unique folds of our brain. Behavioral economists call this present bias. Our brain struggles to see today's me and future me as the same person, as if the 70-year-old version of you were some stranger, completely separate from who you are right now. I've witnessed this over and over. My owner would buy a coffee without giving it a second thought, but when it came to setting money aside for retirement, he'd say, "I'll think about it," and put it off. Because coffee belongs to right now, while retirement belongs to some uncertain future. And people tend to gravitate toward whatever makes them happy in a future they can actually picture clearly, not some vague, distant one. But that future is going to become now, one day. And when that day comes, the only thing left will be one question eating away at you. Why didn't I start sooner? Here's the good news. Knowing about this tendency is the first step to beating it, because once you've spotted a trick, it becomes a lot harder to fall for it. Your eyes are open to it now, and that, honestly, is a bigger step than you might think. Let me offer you something, not a sermon, just a piece of advice, offered in good faith. When people write a letter to their future selves, or see a photo of what they'll look like when they're older, their tendency to save for retirement increases significantly, because that stranger suddenly turns into someone much more familiar. Unfortunately, my owner never did this, but I can offer you this instead. Stop for a moment and picture yourself at 70. How do you want to wake up that morning? Caught in a spiral of financial stress, or with a calm cup of coffee in your hands? That image alone can shape the decision you make today. Chapter 7: The Power of Starting Now, the Big Story of a Small Step. So what should you do? I'm not going to give you any advice here. I'm just going to show you a calculation. Someone who sets aside $300 a month and keeps doing it for 30 years ends up with just an average return without any massive investment, holding several times more than the total amount they actually put in. Because time steps in again. That same quiet magic starts working for you, or more precisely, for your money. This isn't a formula for getting rich. This is the foundation of a clear, stress-free path you can build toward your future, starting today. Tonight, my owner closed that calculator, cleared the screen that read 65, and made a note on his phone. Look into a retirement plan tomorrow. A small note, but I know exactly how heavy it is, because behind that note sits the weight of 8 years of putting it off, and I know how much that weight quietly ate away at him from the inside, which is exactly why I've chosen to tell you all this, so you, my valued viewers, don't waste 8 years of your own, or more. Maybe you have a wallet like me too. Maybe your wallet is sitting quietly in a drawer right now, watching you, feeling a little sad on your behalf every time a decision gets put off. Give it a chance. Take one small step today, not tomorrow, today. I'm not asking you to take big steps. I'm not asking you to change your life overnight either. That would be too optimistic to ask for, and it wouldn't be sustainable anyway. All I'm asking is this. After you finish watching this video, open your phone and search how to start a retirement plan. That's it, just one search. Because here's what I've seen. The biggest changes start with the smallest searches. That's how my owner started too. A search, a note, then an application. None of it was heroic on its own, but all of it together changed a future. All those small searches came together and maybe became the greatest treasure my owner's future will ever hold. To sum up, retirement isn't some distant ghost. It's a letter you're writing, starting today. And the sooner you write that letter, the further it reaches into your future. Don't put off writing that letter, doing that research, taking that step. Every time you delay, you're just piling more weight on your future. Taking action will get easier than you think over time. Just keep putting in the effort. I'm a wallet. I've been watching for years, holding things, remembering things, and today I want to tell you this. Don't put your future in my hands. Put it in your own. Because I'm just a vessel. The real decision is in your hands. You're the one with the real power, the real control. So, to put it simply, take charge of your money. Take charge of your life. See you in the next video. And don't forget to subscribe.